What's up guys, this is Yasin, and today we'll be going over the best board breakers of the current format. So I did go over the best hand traps not too long ago. I mean, actually kind of long ago, so I'm really sorry for being very late with these videos. There's like 50 of them here, so I mean, it's relatively big, and I do have 4 sections, so usually it's 5, but realistically, a lot of the board breakers are actually rather bad, so if you're not playing them, then maybe they shouldn't even be considered. But yeah, this is going to be a very interesting one because a lot of people have been saying that this is a board breaker format. The way I see things is that there is no such thing as a hand trap format or a board breaker format. Usually you kind of want to play kind of like a mix of both. Usually it's closer to like a hand trap format, but when it is a board breaker format, then you're still playing hand traps, right? You're still playing the Mochamis, you're still probably playing Droll. Very least, you're still playing Imperm because Imperm is a hand trap and a board breaker, if you understand what I'm trying to say. But there will probably never be a format where you're going to be playing like literally 21 to 24 board breakers in it. Unless you're playing like Sky Striker Tenpai, which, yeah, it plays a lot of green cards in it. But anyways, before you go any further, you already know the drill. Friendly reminder to smash the like and subscribe button. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first one is Spellbound, and honestly, I don't really see it being great. It's not like terrible against certain decks like Crystron. You know, they try to chain so that they can synchro, and then you chain Spellbound, and then they can't synchro. It's like a worse version of D-Barrier, and it's also not great against like Raziel or Malice if you're going second. But at the very least, going first, it's actually far from bad. And because of that, I'm actually going to put it in the mid section. Mid, by the way, doesn't mean garbage. It means that it's not great, but it's not terrible either. So it's in the middle, right? That's where the word comes from. Because a lot of people always seem to believe that mid translates to trash, but otherwise it would be in this section. So yeah, I think Spellbound is alright, but it's not like insane because there's probably better cards that you can play. Soul Release is not a card that you've got to consider at all, unless Fire King can be a thing, and Fire King could be playable this format, so maybe it's going to be there, but it's also kind of mid. However, just because of the fact that it's only good against one deck, I just do not recommend it at all. Change of Heart is also a mid card, but it's a good mid card, just because the commitment is very low. And this card, actually, if anything, it might be upgraded over time, because if the Fiendsmith engine is ultra popular and people keep going for Caesar instead of DS-Irae, this is one of the really good board breakers, because unlike Triple Tactic Talent, it's not reactive. You don't have to commit into playing into your opponent's card first. And if you can Caesar your opponent's card, then you can start also running over like a Fenrir or Unicorn, so one single Change of Heart can break like the full Keshtura Fiendsmith board. And you can also protect yourself from, you know, Bestials or Nibiru and stuff like that now that you have your opponent's Caesar. Or you can make a Zeus using your opponent's Caesar, which also allows you to break the boards. So this card could also be good against like random decks that people choose to play like Fiendsmith stuff. Except if they have to start destroying their own stuff, which either way plays into your favor anyways. So I think this card has very few drawbacks. The only way it can be useless is if your opponent makes DS-Irae instead. Because then you're not even trading for something, you're really just... You're trading for a negate, which is very bad. You'd rather play cards like Dark Ruler at this point. Cosmic Cyclone, it's also not bad, but it's actually, if anything, a little better than Twin Twister and Lightning Storm. Oh, sorry. It's better than Lightning Storm and Duster against the Odeon deck, because they can just negate Lightning Storm and Duster, but Cosmic Cyclone, if you try to banish like their continuous trap so that they can't make the Apophis to Swamp Deity, it can actually be not too bad. So I don't know, I'm not like a super big fan of Cosmic Cyclone either, just because the ceiling for this card is very weak. But it's not like utter garbage. Sphere Mode, I just do not recommend against like anything. It's bad against Malice, it's bad against Raziel. Kind of bad against Memento, because they can still keep like playing on your turn anyways, and also you know, use your normal summon. But if you're playing a deck like Labyrinth, then maybe it could be fine, but I think Lava Golem is better anyways. Mirror Magic of the Icebearer dog shit. No, sorry, that's not even Mirror Magic, that's what was this card's name again? Mirror of the Ice Barrier, there we go. Okay, there's 2 cards with Mirror and Ice Barrier in their card name. That's ridiculous. Regeki is not like dog shit. Depends on the deck that you're playing because it's not a staple at all. Swords of Concealing Light is like actual garbage. That one is like, yeah, not good at all. Evenly Match is very interesting. This card could be anywhere between like side deck staple and... Maybe if I had like another category right below, it would probably be there. But I actually think Evenly just keeps getting better and better. It's really good against the Odeon Fiendsmith deck because they can only negate stuff using the Apophis of Swamp Deity on the main phase. So yeah, the battle phase is their Kryptonite. But at the same time, if your deck loses to Lancia, then this card might not be the best play for you because then it's just going to be more collateral damage for you. Same thing with like Imperial Iron Wall. So if you're playing Malice or like Crystron, I do not recommend considering Evenly. But if you're playing another deck, then this card can also overlap as you know, a board breaker against the back row decks and also against the combo decks. So if you can pair this up with other board breakers, it can be fantastic. But if you're playing this with other hand traps, it's going to be really bad because when you play evenly, you don't want to have the cards like some cards like Veiler, Ogre, and stuff like that. It's just not good enough. You want to have other cards that can just finish up the job for you, like a Lightning Storm in evenly, or like evenly Change of Heart, evenly Regeki, evenly Book of Moon, Book of Eclipse, something like that. That would be fantastic. Because then your opponent keeps one card, you get rid of that card, and then you actually play the game. Or, you know, you get rid of your opponent's, like, negates that could be able to deal with this. So if you have, like, evenly Dark Ruler, that's, like, particularly cracked, that can also allow you to win the game. So yeah, I think this card can be great in the right hands. But if you're now playing this card intelligently, then it's even worse than a mid card. Arby's Feather Duster, yeah, this one's really good. That's clearly a side deck staple, 100%. I don't really think a lot of decks are not trying to play this card. I mean, it's just good against almost everything, but it's not good against Odeon because, again, they can negate it. Book of Moon, this can be a must main depending on the deck that you're playing. If you're playing Raziel, but it's not a card that would side deck, so that's the reason why it's there. I know, like, when I'm saying must main, like, it feels like I'm talking about, like, a super broken card that everybody has to play, but yeah, it's a must main if you can play the card and it's good for you, instead of just being good against your opponent. So again, the Raziel deck really needs to resolve Duo Drive as it currently stands, because otherwise the grind game is dog shit, because then you don't have the field spells, you don't recycle back your cards, and you actually run out of monsters really quickly. So it's really a priority, and that's the reason why you gotta play 3 Book of Moon and 3 Book of Eclipse in the Raziel deck at the very least. And you know what? I'm gonna be covering Book of Eclipse as well. This card is insanity. Honestly, really broken. If anything, it might be one of the best, if not the best, board breaker of the format. It's really good against Kashtira Fiendsmith as well. If you're going second, they have Unicorn, Fenrir, Caesar, and Birth. You Book of Eclipse, they go to 0 disruptions. Everything is shut down, and then it's very easy to beat them after that. I mean, I guess they have, like, the Paradise Engrave, but okay, sure. That's a nice deck you got there. I'm not really scared of that. I really think that this card is insanity. Like, if you can play this card either in your main deck or side deck, you are golden, but if you play in the main deck, then just know that it's really bad against Malice. But again, just to repeat myself for the 10th billion time, if you can make it so that these cards are also good for you and negate, like, I mean, book your own monsters to dodge Veiler, Imperm, and stuff like that, then that definitely makes these cards even better than what they actually are. Forbidden Chalice is by no means a bad card, but I think it's, like, a little less versatile than the books. I mean, you're never really trying to chalice your own monsters, whereas the books, you can you can book yourself, book your opponent's monsters. And also, I just feel like if you're playing against a deck like Malice, you'd rather Book of Moon their normal summon than Forbidden Chalice their Dormouse. It's like infinitely more just powerful overall. So I think this card just lacks a little bit of oomph and, like, power. So if anything, I'm actually gonna downgrade it here. Doesn't make it trash, but it's not a card that I can consider a side deck staple either. However, Lightning Storm is, without the shadow of a doubt, a side deck staple. Great card, of course. I'm never gonna talk trash on these two cards. They're so incredibly versatile I mean, Lightning Storm is super versatile. Duster maybe a little less, but still, it covers a lot of ground, because even like the non-trap decks, they still need to play, like, spells and traps. And also, every now and then, you get lucky, and you also take care of Solemn Strikes and Imperms in the process, when it wasn't even, like, your job. Like, the Duster, you especially want to get rid of, like, Raziel Cross and stuff like that, but sometimes, as an added bonus, you get rid of the other cards, but not Solemn Judgment, of course, unfortunately, so that's one thing to note. But with Lightning Storm, if you draw 2, if they Judgment the first one, then they basically lost 4,000 life points for free, because then you can just Lightning Storm again. Spell card Soul Exchange, this card's really cool if you can play it in, like, Ryugi, so yeah, I mean, it's a really good one, but it's not a card that everybody has to play, so it's not like you can, you should really change, like, your deck to work around that card, so I'm not gonna put it in must main. Mind Control is obviously worse than Change of Heart, so yeah, it makes sense. Snatch Steal is worse than all of them, but it's actually worse than, like, a lot of the cards here, so if anything, it's probably gonna downgrade over there. Really not a big fan. Super Poly, I'm probably gonna have to put in a lot of thought and effort into it, but it's fine. It's probably on the same level as, like, Regeki, honestly. It's a really interesting one, because you do have to, like, work your extra deck around this card, but it just keeps getting better and better, but it's not great against, like, Raziel and Malice. That's the one issue. But at least we have Duke of Demise now, so against, like, the Fiendsmith-based strategies, this card is kind of cool. It's not bad. You can use, like, 2 Fiends. You can use DS Irae and Caesar, which is not something that you could do before, and also if they revive back, like, the the Requiem, Then you can go, okay, turn player, super polyfuse, so before you even summon the Lacrima off of the Requiem, so they don't even get the Fiendsmith in Paradise, that can be really nasty. So if they do it way too early, Super Poly can actually take care of absolutely everything they've got, and that's actually even better than like Regeki and the books in that instance. So there are some situations where this card can be one of the best board breakers for you, and it's also a defensive board breaker, just like these ones, which is one of the reasons why I kind of want to put it a little bit higher, but I can't, just because it's really weak against Raziel and Malice. Like, Malice doesn't care if they lose bodies, unless you, like, I guess you use it going first, but that just doesn't count. Forbidden Droplet, the man, the myth, the legend. This card is so freaking broken. If your deck can play this card, you basically have to play this card. If you're playing Crystron, this card is your best friend. Just like if you're playing Raziel, the books are your best friend. This card has, like, almost no drawback in Crystron, like, at all. You want the cards to be in the grave anyways, and having the flexibility to negate, like, monster effects during any phase is, like, so much better than having a card like Dark Ruler. And again, it is a defensive card. So that's the reason why usually when I read these cards, the quick play spells have a tendency to be higher on the tier list than the normal spell cards. Of course, because they are live, like, twice as often. You know, the normal spells are only live on your own turn, whereas these, you can use them basically at any moment. So yeah, they've got a special place in my heart. Triple Tactic Talent is a card that I can't really see myself citing just one copy of, so if I can main deck the card, then I'm probably main decking the one of, and yeah, it's just gonna be the most infuriating one of to play against now, unfortunately. It is what it is. Dark Hole is, like, worse than Regeki, but it still achieves almost the exact same purpose. The reason why I say it's worse is because realistically, nobody's giving you, like, Ibli and stuff like that. Otherwise, it would be, like, way better. Sometimes Dark Hole is, like, infinitely better than Regeki, but that is not one of its formats. Murmur of the Forest. Insanely interesting card. I actually like this card a lot, so in case you didn't know, it is a normal spell card that can target one monster upon controls. You place it in face down defense, and then if you want to, you can bounce back all the field spells from the field to the hand. So you can, like, book your opponent's detonator, and then bounce back the Raziel Cross. That's not too bad. The issue with this is that with Twins of the Eclipse, anything that targets and anything that just, like, Book of Moons one monster, it's usually not enough, especially if it's like a normal spell card. It's still cool since you can bounce back the Raziel Cross, and it kind of acts as like a mega board breaker against them. So because of that, I actually kind of want to, like, put it at the very top of mid, because realistically, it's not going to see too much play. I think we can all agree on the fact that you will see these cards insanely often, but you're not going to see these cards insanely often, even if they're good. It's not about being good or bad. It's about the fact that people are not even considering these options. But Murmur of the Forest, if more people even looked at the card and were like, okay, you know what, it's actually kind of decent, more people would be playing it, and the card would probably be represented in a more positive light. But yeah, I think it's a really nice card overall. Herald of the Abyss is just bad. I mean, it's not like trash, but it's so easy to dodge. Like, it's so easy for a deck that have just, like, multiple monsters with the same type and attribute, and then it just, like, your opponent has so much control over what he wants to send. It's not like against, like, Purely. I mean, even against, like, Purely back in the days, you would call, like, Dark Fairy for Purely Noir. Your opponent just changed, like, any Purely quickly spell, summon the other, like, baby Purely that is the Dark, and then that takes the fall instead, and then the Purely Noir just survives, and you basically lost 2,000 life points and a powerful card for absolutely no gain whatsoever. This is the card that gets rid of any Link monster. It's kind of like Defusion for Link. Just don't recommend it. If anything, I also don't recommend this card. I'm sorry. Dark World Puppetry, I mean, yeah, you gotta play it in a Fiend deck. You can play it in Unchained, and it's fantastic against a lot of decks. If anything, I'm actually gonna put it, you know, pretty high up on the mid section. It's not super generic. Again, you do have to discard a Fiend, so it's good against, like, Unchained. I mean, it's good in Unchained, it's good in Fiendsmith, it's good maybe in Labyrinth, in the Furniture version, potentially, and it's good against, like, Fire Kings, it's good against anything really that utilizes the graveyard, but it does banish the cards, if I recall correctly. So against Malice, it's pretty trash. Yeah, exactly, there you go. So yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's a really nice card. It's a quick play soul release, kind of, but I mean, it's only for 3 cards, up to 3 cards. And the graveyard effect is really nice as well. The fact that you can banish it from the grave, except during the turn it was sent there, to recycle back any of your banished Fiend monsters. So if your opponent banishes, like, your Engraver or something, or even if you get, like, Ghost Reapered on your Fiendsmith Requiem, this is one of the very few ways in the game that you can recycle back a banished Fiend monster to your hand or extra deck. And that is something that should not be overlooked. I think it's a really cool card. It's better than what people are giving it credit for. Again, I do like to look at the more unique board breakers in this segment, just because it's very obvious to just look at the top ones and be like, obviously these are always going to be the best ones, but there is usually better options. I mean, not really better options, but other options. A spell card, Monster Reborn. Not trash. I have seen some people play it in like some decks. I don't know exactly where I would put it. It's very similar to like just playing, you know, Sky Striker, Shower Cannon, but without the restriction of you can like not control any monsters in your main monster zone. This one, like whatever monster you revive, it doesn't really do anything. It can't activate its effects or attack this turn, but the continuous effects of the monster are still active, and you can still use it as a material for pretty much anything. And I think you can start activating the effects of the monster again on the next turn, if I recall correctly. Actually, no, never. Oh, actually, yeah, I think you do. Yeah, so it's cool. It is once per turn, which is unfortunate, but it can be a solid interruption against Malice. If your opponent tries to like banish like his own Malice monster, you just steal it, and then it just doesn't get banished. And then you can steal your opponent's Widebinder, and then if you're playing Malice, so in the mirror match, this could be cool. You can use your opponent's Widebinder, set a trap, and then I don't know, you just try to make it so that the Widebinder never hits the grave, so your opponent can't banish it again, but whatever, you get what I'm trying to say. It's an okay card. It's not trash, but it's not like, ugh. I'm not really convinced myself, unfortunately. Book of Lunar Eclipse is a card that I just don't think is fantastic, because it has to book exactly 2 monsters. It's not up to 2 monsters. So your opponent sometimes randomly play around this card, or if you like Mochimi your opponent, like Foros or whatever, and you're playing against Razio, they're just making 1 Detonator pass anyways. So Lunar Eclipse is actually useless, unfortunately. So yeah, if it was like up to 2, it would have probably been on the same level, or at the very least like worse than Book of Moon. This, I think, is like the hierarchy. Book of Eclipse is the best one. Book of Moon is still very good because it's better than Book of Eclipse going first, but way worse going second. Although this card is not ashable, and this card is. But yeah, this card is not ashable. It's actually similar to like Book of Moon, but it's like, this is like the Twin Twister for MST, compared to like Book of Moon. So yeah, it's fine though. Triple Tactic Thrust. Yeah, this card's really cool. I don't... It's a card that you, at the very least, should be side decking if you're not main decking. At the very least, because now that there is no more crossout, I mean, okay, there's one crossout, but nobody's going to be playing crossout at all, because are you really trying to play the one crossout and still have like 1 Mochimi Foros and like 1 Perulia potentially when you're going first? Like, are you really trying to do like 1, I already used this analogy, but 1 Brilliant Fusion for 2 Gemini Garnets? Are you sure about that? Because I think that's kind of stupid. So people are going to be looking into alternatives for these kinds of cards, and Triple Tactic Thrust is such a good card to have in your side, because it's universally good for going first and second, because then you can have a board breaker approach, and then you can start thrusting into the board breakers, but going first, then you can thrust into like different Dimension Ground, Blackout Laughs, Dimensional Barrier, etc., Artifact Sanctum into Lancia, although I think that's not really relevant until we get Alliance Insight. But I think this card's really nice, just to have overall in your side deck. So I do think it is a side deck staple for sure, and I think it's going to be probably maybe as popular as Harpy's Feather Duster, more popular than Lightning Storm, but I'm still going to put it at the very top just because of how powerful it is, and I really do believe in it, for sure. I think it's actually much better than it was last format. Kashtira Fenrir is actually a side deck staple just because, I mean, it's actually more of a main deck staple, if anything, because I think this card is actually really broken. Obviously, it's good against the Fiendsmith based decks, because then your opponent, you know, summon Caesar, you go, okay, special summon Fenrir, attack, banish the Caesar, run over something else, and then, you know, search another Kashtira. It's so good in, like, grindy matchups. You just, like, the fact that it banishes stuff and stuff like that, it's just, oh, it's so difficult to, like, get rid of, like, the loop of Fenrir, also searching Fenrir that searches Fenrir, or even worse, can search Unicorn, and then you can also Forbidden Droplet, send the Fenrir after banishing something, special Unicorn, search Birth, revive back the Fenrir, make Draco sack Cherubini, SP Little Knight, full Crystron combo. Dude, you can do infinite things if you just draw these 2 cards. You can draw all non-engine and still win the game. And honestly, the non-engines that are, like, self-sufficient, that allows you to just win on their own, they get bonus points for me. And I think Fenrir is one of the most underrated cards out there. It's a card that I might not side in any deck, but I actually think it's a really good card to main deck. I think maybe this is like a good position for it. But even if you're playing a deck like Prime-Eyed Blue Eyes, I'm not gonna lie, this is still a card that you can main deck. It's kind of cool. It's just a generic card overall. because it's good going first and second, and it gives you like also extra cards in your hand that can be like discard fodder for your wishes or whatever. So it's honestly a card that you can look into regardless of what deck you're playing. Like Chimera, for example, it's like an extra monster in your hand for like a fusion material. Huge fan of Kishtir Fenrir, one of my favorite cards for sure. Burial from a Different Dimension is super awesome. This is not a side deck staple just because Malice is losing in popularity. Otherwise, it would probably be like a little higher on the list because the board breaker version of Raziel is rather good. So I think that would probably just be where I would put it if that was like one of the best decks, but it's not because Raziel kind of got murdered. Again, until we get Star Raziel and Alliance Insight. Dark Ruler no more. Okay, usually this card is so broken, but I mean, it's not bad. It's actually not bad at all. Hugh Bell is gaining in popularity now, so yeah, maybe Dark Ruler can be kind of decent. It's probably going to be there, or at the very bottom, but it's not great against Memento because, again, they can just fusion summon anyways. They've got like so many back row set, and if they got like the trap card, it's also kind of mediocre. I would never main deck Dark Ruler. I'm not that kind of guy, but it also kind of has like a lot of decent matchups. Like against Blue Eyes, it's really, really good. Like very good. Against Crystron, it's pretty good as well. Honestly, it's kind of cool. Even against Kishtir Fiendsmith, you negate Unicorn, Fenrir, Caesar, you negate DS Irae, all their Omni negates against White Forest Azamina. It's really nice. Honestly, I think this card's... It gets a lot of hate, but it doesn't deserve it. Yeah, because another issue for this is that you can't OTK your opponent after using it. So just like evenly, these cards have similar issues. You have to basically make an unbreakable board after using these cards. And sometimes it's actually, I mean, basically always. It's easier to OTK than to make a big board in main phase 2. Because you have so much freedom on how you want OTK. You can be very messy and OTK, but you can't really be messy and make like 7 disruptions after also clearing a board in the process. That's a little too much to ask for. Kaijus are actually really shit. I do not recommend them at all. They're really bad. They're basically like on the level of Sphere mode, but obviously they don't take up your normal summon, and at least they don't require like 3 monsters, but I guess that can also be a good thing for Sphere mode. Sky Striker Engine, I mean, it's not great. It's very bad against Malice, and it's not great in Malice either, just because you don't even have that many names. You're better off just playing the Fiendsmith cards. It's not like super... It's not good at all, actually. I'm not a fan, but I do think it's like on the level of like Change of Heart and stuff like that, because Widow Anchor is basically Change of Heart in a way. Clashing Souls, it's too complicated. Yeah, do not recommend. Metatronus. Okay, so this card actually, it's weird, because this card I think downgraded over time because it's not good against Memento, and Memento is gaining in popularity. Look at their typings and like attribute and stuff like that. Wyrm with 5,000 attack and defense. How the frick are you getting a Metatronus for that? A Metatronus target. It's completely impossible. So this card is very bad against Memento. It's like not the best against like certain weird random decks unless you have like the target for it. But one thing that I will say is that if you're playing against any Fiendsmith based strategy and you are playing Fiendsmith yourself, this is one of your best friends, because if you're targeting like a Caesar, you can summon Fiendsmith DS Irae, and if you have like an Engraver in a hand, you can go Engraver, search, Tract, and then you make a Requiem using the DS Irae, and then DS Irae can use its effect, shuffle back the Engraver that you just discarded to search a Tract, and then send something into the grave, and then you can start breaking boards like crazy. And honestly, I think Metatronus has a lot of potential if used correctly. I think this is one of the most unique cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! If anything, it's even a card that you can main deck. But it's very difficult to main deck because it's very weak against Memento. So because of that, I think it's more of a side deck staple than a main deck staple. I could be wrong. If you can prove me wrong, if you can tell me that this card is better against Memento, I am looking... I can listen to you, but I kind of doubt it. They have way too many ways of just dodging overall. They can chain quickly spells to fuse. Yeah, they can chain Bone Party as well, and then destroy the monster that you're trying to destroy with like a negate, with Memento, Metatronus. So I don't know. Yeah, it's just... Obviously, this card gets better in mirror matches, so if you're playing a mirror match, then this card can be insane even if you don't even have the right targets for it. If you're playing Memento Fiendsmith, you're in a good position because then you can start targeting Memento cards off of Metatronus, right? Because you're targeting the same card, so you can even banish face down. And if your opponent has like Caesar and stuff like that, or Fiendsmith stuff, then you're playing the Fiendsmith stuff anyway, so you target the Caesar, summon the Assyria, and you're good to go. I'm probably going to downgrade it over here just because not as many people can play Metatronus as people that can play, you know, Lightning Storm and Duster, and realistically, this should be downgraded here, because I think that these are the ultimate side deck staples. They're going to be in, like, literally everyone's side deck. Season Core is actually trash now, because you no longer have to deal with Abyss Dweller, so this is just like actually worse than any other card that can deal with a rank 4. Like nothing can just be shotgunned on your standby phase now. Like now you're dealing with like Razor Detonator and Baguska, which you're better off with any other card. So honestly, this is done. Like we're completely done seeing Xyz on core pretty much forever, unless like Rongo or Dweller comes back, which I'm literally praying to God never happens. Zoo King Alpha is dog shit, like actually worse probably. It's like such a bad card, it's really bad. Do not ever play this card, please. It plays into like every interruption on Earth, it's so shit. Anti-magic arrows. This could be good against the Odeon deck, but it's not good against the Fiendsmith stuff, because it only takes care of like spells and traps. So it's actually a really bad mid card. Yeah, maybe there. I don't know, I don't care honestly. Enemy Controller is cool. It's actually a really nice card. I like it a lot. I mean, it's worse than the books just because you do have to tribute a monster, but stealing a monster is a great interruption too. So yeah, it's nice. I mean, changing the position of a monster for free can also be good against Baguska. You make it go from defense to attack. So if you're scared of Baguska, then maybe this could be the better card for you. I don't know. Yeah, that's not too bad. But it interacts very poorly against Razor Detonator. Like, you tribute your monster, try to steal a Detonator, your opponent self-destruct because you're still using a card, and then Detonator, Twins of the Eclipse, revive back, and then you gotta deal with the card again, so you lost a monster, you lost a card, your opponent basically lost nothing other than like one pop maybe with Detonator, so it's not good enough. Dino Wrestler Pancratops. I actually played this card at my 3v3 case tournament that I played yesterday, that I won, by the way, so huge shoutouts to my teammates because they were awesome as well. And it was a shared banlist event, so I couldn't play all the cards that I wanted, and Pancratops was one of the cards in my side, and I swear to God, it looks like broken on paper, but it wasn't great at all. It could have been like anything else and it would have been better. It could have been a book, it would have been better. It could have been like, I don't know, like a droplet or like a dark ruler, it would have been better. So this card, by default, I think is going to be worse than everything that's above it. Maybe it's like over here. I don't know. Maybe over like here, because and it's actually very good against Odeon when you think about it. You special summon this, you go battle phase, and then they're like, oh shit, hold on a second, battle phase? Oh my god, that's true, my cards are useless during the battle phase. And then they might just flip their stuff preemptively, and then you can just go, okay, chain, destroy like one of your trap cards, and then it does nothing. Or destroy like the Caesar or whatever. So the fact that it forces the opponent to make like worse plays, and you can also just use this effect at any moment, I think it is really cool. And also, this is a weird interaction, but if you keep in the Fenrir, and you side in the Pancratops and Crystron, for example, if you draw both, you special Fenrir first, and then obviously use the effect, you special summon Pancratops, and if you really want to, you can afford to like, just make a Draco sack with both, since they're both level 7, and that can merge into your engine, so you can again have 0, you know, engine Crystron cards and still play the game. But that's really stupid, because that means that you're using Pancratops as an Xyz material, which makes me feel like I should not play this game. Yeah, if I ever do this, then I'm actually just, I want to just vomit. But yeah, Slumber Garbage, obviously. Ultimate Slayer, oh, that's such a good one. That is such a good one. Oh my god, it probably is here or here. Maybe, because I think this is more of a side deck staple, since it's good going first and second, whereas this is only good going second. And this is actually better, I mean, this is good going first and second as well. But Ultimate Slayer deals with two things, if you have the extra deck space for it, which I think should not be an issue, because Kashtira Fiendsmith has a minimum of 2 to 3 extra deck space that are not, like, tight at all. You can just basically play whatever you want. You can play Ghost Reaper targets, you can play Metal Tronus targets, or Ultimate Slayer targets. You have the option of what you want to do, or even Super Volley targets, but yeah, that one's not as good. Ultimate Slayer is very good against every single Fiendsmith-based strategy. Granted, they go into Caesar. I keep repeating this, but if they go into DS Array, then it's not as good. And also, are you really going to be playing the Elder Entity Entis? So for this card to be great, usually you're looking at 3 extra deck targets. You're looking at Aggregator for sure, because you're bouncing back Detonator and you know, Caesar off of the Aggregator, but you also get to negate like Razor Cross or another monster on the field. Or you can also be sending Elder Entity in Entis or Golden Cloud Beast Malong. These are the other fantastic targets for Ultimate Slayer. So I think that this card is honestly just incredibly good overall. It's better than, again, a lot of the other board breakers there for the top tier decks. Even if it's not against Raziel, it's still good against like every single Fiendsmith deck. And everybody's going to be making Caesar, because Nibiru is still kind of an issue for a lot of people. So yeah, didn't really change much since last format, actually. But my opinion on a lot of cards did change. Lava Golem, not bad. I don't even know where to put it. Kurikawa, dog shit, and Vesper Gearsu, way too complicated to use. So I think this is how my board breaker tier list would look like. You guys let me know how you feel about it in the comment section below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.